morning, ladies and gentlemen. Every day, the Earth absorbs 1.75 times 10 to the power 17 watts of solar power. If we were to harness this amount of power for 1 hour, we can power our entire world for 1 whole year. However, even with our most advanced technologies, we still couldn't even get 1% of the sun's energy. In short, we haven't fully utilized solar energy. This is why solar energy is one of the most researched topics today in engineering. It is believed that with solar energy, we can provide our Earth with a cheap, sustainable source of energy. Now, I'd like for all of you to close your eyes for a moment. Go ahead, close your eyes. Picture a solar cell. Now open your eyes. Is this what you had in mind? Well, I believe at least for 50% of you, these traditional solar cells is the first thing that pops into your mind when you picture one. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong here, but what I'm trying to say is that these are not the only kinds of solar cells out there. In fact, today I'm going to show you to a new type of solar cell, and these are called organic solar cells. The reason I'm standing here today is because I want to answer a very simple question. Why should we research into organic solar cells? What kind of future prospects does these solar cells have? Well, let us first answer what are organic solar cells, or more precisely, what are organic materials? Organic materials are basically anything that is carbon-based. Polymers, plastics, they are some common examples. And due to its unique chemical structure, they exhibit certain properties that you won't find in a traditional solar cell. They're thin, flexible, lightweight, and also semi-transparent. Recently, researchers at University of Melbourne has made a breakthrough in organic solar cells. They've devised a revolutionary manufacturing technique for organic solar cells. And this particular technique is something that we are all familiar with. Now, I'd like to ask you, when you hit Control P on your keyboard, what are you attempting to do? Print, right. Today, we can print organic solar cells. With this newfound printing technology, we can print any amount of organic solar cells we want with any color and any pattern. Well, what this means on a large scale is that mass production is possible. And when there's mass production, the price will certainly drop. In fact, the price of producing an organic solar cell today is actually 20% lower than a traditional solar cell. Furthermore, these solar cells are thin, flexible, lightweight, which means that we can mass produce them and conveniently transport them to rural areas where people are deprived of energy sources. Let me illustrate with an example. This is a picture taken in Dangamo. Dangamo is a remote rural village in Western India. Every day, the women living in Dangamo have to walk several miles, carrying heavy buckets of water on top of their heads, walking from the foots of the mountain all the way into their households. It seems that getting a clean source of water is extremely inconvenient in Dangamo. Why? Because there's nothing to power water purification. Dangamo is not connected to the electricity grid. So, the question really is, what can we use to power water purification without connecting it to the electricity grid? Organic solar cells. We can use organic solar cells to convert dirty river water to clean water and pump it all the way into the households. And all we need is a low-cost renewable energy source. And these organic solar cells are certainly one of them. Now, let us go back to these traditional solar cells. Ladies and gentlemen, if you notice, one of the problems of these traditional solar cells is that the solar cell and the roof must always be two separate components, right? Meaning that we install the roof first, and then only the solar cell on top. Well, the problem with this type of installation method is that it's extremely costly, it takes more time, and more manpower. Furthermore, the surface area that can be installed with these traditional solar cells is extremely limited. For the case of this house, we can only install these solar cells onto the roofs, am I right? But with organic solar cells, we do not have this problem. The simple reason is because the solar cell can be part of the building material. This means that we can integrate organic solar cells into the building materials as one single element. We can integrate organic solar cells onto our walls, onto our roofs, or even onto our windows. This office building here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, is one of the first to have adopted this idea. See this? These are organic solar cells being integrated into the windows of this building. Now, let us imagine. Imagine if it's not just one building, but hundreds of buildings that are integrated with organic solar cells. If you could just imagine the amount of sunlight that they will receive on a daily basis. Let me illustrate with another example. Everyone knows Marina Bay Sands. We want to integrate, let's say we want to integrate organic solar cells into the windows of Marina Bay Sands. Now, in Singapore, 95% of the electricity comes from natural gas. So let us assume that all of the electricity used in Marina Bay Sands also comes from natural gas. In 1 year, Marina Bay Sands consumes about 185 gigawatt hours of electricity. But if we were to integrate organic solar cells into the windows of Marina Bay Sands, these organic solar cells can generate 17 gigawatt hours of electricity. This means that at least 10% of the annual energy consumption of Marina Bay Sands can be substituted by organic solar cells. Well, what does this mean for people like us? This means that electricity will be much cheaper now that we reduce our dependency on natural gas with these organic solar cells. This means that we also reduce our carbon emissions. Because natural gas is one of the leading causes of carbon emissions in Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, the applications of organic solar cells doesn't stop here. With this new form printing technology, we can fabricate any shape, size, and color of integrated solar cell materials. These pictures right here are all examples of how organic solar cells can be part of our daily lives. Imagine one day being able to charge your handphones using an organic solar cell. Imagine one day being able to print an organic solar cell at home, stick it to the window, and start generating energy. Tell me, isn't this amazing? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, organic solar cells are printable. Because they're printable, this means that we can mass produce them. When there's mass production, the price will drop. Furthermore, these solar cells are thin, flexible, lightweight, which means that we can conveniently transport these solar cells to rural areas where people are deprived of energy sources. We can also integrate organic solar cells into building materials as one single element. And this reduces our carbon emissions and also our electricity costs. So, the real question is, where are all the organic solar cells then? Why don't I see any organic solar cells being integrated outside? What seems to be the barrier that is preventing us from achieving all these? Well, unfortunately, there are two major challenges preventing us. Number one, efficiency, and number two, lifetime. So this is where research comes in. So far, research of organic solar cells has been happening all around the world. The number of papers published on organic solar cells has been increasing drastically in recent years. And this has also inspired me to do my own research in organic solar cells in my final-year research project in Swinburne University. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to take this opportunity right here to encourage and to even inspire all of you to join the research of organic solar cells. Let us take this up and start transforming the lives of people. And if you want to join the research today, you can. Singaporean institutions like NUS have already formed dedicated research groups on organic solar cells. Ladies and gentlemen, with organic solar cells, we can potentially create a new paradigm of energy generation. And that itself has endless possibilities. And the key to unlocking all of these possibilities is in your hands. So let us start today by spreading the word. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Q&A, please. 5 minutes. I'm going to start by saying that was brilliant.
Thank you.
I'm going to follow it up by saying I'm not an engineer, so please excuse my ignorance. The building that you showed in Brazil, it was integrated into the building when it was built, is that correct?
No. After it was built, then it was integrated.
Okay.
They take down the materials, they take down the windows, and they integrate it inside, and they put it back up.
So it's entirely possible to update this on existing buildings?
Yes.
Excellent, okay.
Well, again, I'm interested in impressive presentation, but I have to admit I'm not an engineer as well, Isabella. So pardon my ignorance.
Okay.
Your whole thesis is built on the premise that we are not harvesting solar energy primarily due to technology constraint or cost efficiency. Have your research or have you thought about is that the only limiting factor on why are we not harnessing solar energy, or there could be even factors such as cloud cover, there's whatever factors. Singapore has been quite a propellant in solar energy,
yes.
but extremely hot Singapore and Malaysia, but the adoption of solar energy is not as huge. I understood from my own little research reading into the topic, it's about strong cloud cover that limits.
Okay.
So shouldn't the technology be looking at how can we overcome these factors, or your insights on how you should be looking at this?
That's a very good question. You see, there's not just only cloud covers, like even the angle of tilt of the solar cell actually affects a lot. But I understand, I did not cover this here. For the cloud covering, basically there's really nothing we can do for that. The only thing we can do is to improve how we install the solar cells, where do we install it, and the materials, efficiency, the lifetime of these solar cells. Yeah.
Thank you for your brilliant ideas. Really like this idea on the organic solar cell. So being an engineer and in the field of electrical, so this is a topic that I'm very familiar with.
Oh, okay.
So let me just understand a little bit. What is the type of energy that you can harvest from an organic solar cell versus a traditional one that people are using it around the world?
Okay.
So what is the energy that you can harvest compared with a traditional?
You mean how much is it?
Yeah.
How much energy it
Correct.
can harvest? So I would say the efficiency of an organic solar cell is in fact actually around 15%. And the efficiency of a silicon solar cell is actually 26.1%. This is the traditional type of solar cell. As you can see, it's still very lacking behind. But what I can say is that, in fact, the rate of growth of the efficiency of an organic solar cell is actually much higher compared to the traditional silicon solar cells. Because over the years, traditional silicon solar cells is only actually at a plateau, in fact. But for the silicon solar cells, in fact, yeah, they've been increasing a lot. So
yeah, the second question, all right, you are saying that the maintenance is an issue, right? I mean, the lifetime of it.
Yes.
Yeah, by looking at it.
Yes.
All right, silicon is 11 years, organic is 2 years.
Yeah.
So how do you convince investor to actually, go into this direction?
So,
yeah.
If you can see this slide, all right, let's see the last point, break-even analysis for BIPV, all right? So I've actually read on a research paper that they actually calculate the break-even analysis, meaning when can it start to generate profit if we were to integrate organic solar cells into the buildings. So as you can see, it takes 7 years for organic solar cells to reach its break-even point, and it takes 1.5 years for these silicon solar cells, for these thin film silicon solar cells to reach its break-even point. So the difference is very huge, meaning I need to wait 7 years until I can generate a profit. But not to worry. If you can see here, this is a paper in 2012. This paper in 2012 is assuming an efficiency of 2.5%. But now we already reached an efficiency of 15% already. And this paper actually says that if these organic solar cells reach an efficiency of 12.5%, at least 12.5%, they can already compare to these thin film solar cells already. But this efficiency, right, this 15% efficiency is only for a very small area, around this area. when the area is larger, the efficiency decreases. So I'm saying that since we already can reach 15% efficiency with smaller area, it's not completely impossible for us to reach, say, 12.5 for larger areas. So this is why I'm here. I want to encourage research into organic solar cells so that we can together make it 15 for larger areas. Okay?
Okay.